because I spoke to a Muslim guy last night and he was like, mate, you're treading into deep, dark territory. When you talk about this, I was like, I'm a deep, dark territory kind of guy. That's exactly where I fucking live, mate. Let's talk about it. Mate, I want to talk about a principle that's going to be more important as we move on over the next few months and years in the UK. I also want to talk about Islam. I want to talk about people that have come to our country, not just Muslims, but have come to our country to make it their home or to benefit and grift off the hard work and toil that people of this land have put in first. And I want to talk about how we're going to keep ourselves safe and our families safe. That's really important that we do that. So in this video, we'll also try and show you some examples. And some of those examples, it might be violent, and hopefully it won't be violent, because if I put violent stuff into the video, then my sponsor won't sponsor it. I just won't sponsor it. And YouTube, as you know, doesn't like that kind of stuff. But I will put stuff in to show you what I mean. Now, the principle I'm talking about that's going to be so beneficial to us all over the next, well, I'll say months, hopefully years, but not hopefully months, is going to be back up and step up. And I want you to remember that. Back up and step up. The only people, we know how ineffective the police are, and it's not their fault. They're well, a lot of them, going after DI. Of course, that is their fault, but I'm talking about a lot of good police officers out there that want to police crime and they can't. They're wrapped up in paperwork. I was on a bike safe course on the weekend with the police, and they were like, we lost the streets. They lost the streets. They didn't have the police. They didn't have the support from the seniors. We understand that policing is not always going to help us. Probably won't be able to help you if you get into an altercation on the street. So back up and step up. What that means is we're going to talk about the nod. That nod, like that nod, man-to-man nod. Like, dude, you coming with me, mate, and you want to get a nod back, I'm in, all right? I want you to think about who you are. If you're English, Welsh, Scottish, or Irish, I really want you to think about who you are, who your grandparents were, your great-great-grandparents who built this country. I want you to think about who you really are. Now, I'm not lecturing you. I'm just coming out with his ideas, all right? Back up and step up means something's happening, like phone theft, something happening. Someone's coming up, trying to nick a bike from the street, a motorcycle, whatever. They're trying to steal something. Back up and step up. You look around, there's other men there, right? But other men don't want to jump in without other men, because there might be two guys there. They might have a power drill on them or something. You know what I mean? One of those circular saws, and that stuff's dangerous, right? But you back up. So what I mean is you take a step back for a start so you can see more and you're not involved necessarily. So you back up. Back up is a two-phase thing. Not only have you backed up a little bit, give yourself a bit of breathing space, because there might be like a fight going on or something like that. And then you look to your left and right. There's be other dudes out there looking to the left and the right. And they just want to know whether other dudes are going to get involved. Men will step when other men step. You have to remember that, okay? I tend to step without other men stepping. And when I did that when I was younger, I used to get into trouble. I used to get beaten up or into fights. You'll get into fights. The reason when you see police and they take down, sorry about the hair, I've been doing some fizz this morning. The police you'll see like 8 police officers on one person when they take them down, because it's safer to do that. It's much safer, overwhelming you for force to take down. You want to go for a 3-to-1 odd if you possibly can. You nod at people, nod at men. You up, mate? You up? You haven't got to say it, but just that nod. Like, look at another dude. If he nods back, nod, step. Okay? Back up. You've got back up now. Now you can step. And you haven't got to step up, go swinging. I mean, I'm 50. I'm not going swinging with fist, my port pain piston coming out. No, I'm 50 now, mate. I'm not into that. But you can make that demand, mate. You know what I mean? Just by being there, like 3 or 4 of you now. You know what I mean? Mate, stand still. Look at me, stand still. And now you can go and make your citizen's arrest. This is where people in the comments go, shut up, Tim, shut up. You'll get arrested by the police. I'm kind of sick of this, right? I'm a fan of the police. I'm not a fan of British policing. I keep saying it. British policing is in the toilet, mate. But British police officers are our families. They're our sisters, our brothers, our fathers, our mothers. They're our children. That's the police on the street right now having a hell of a rough time. Hell of a rough time. Because their leaders are shit, mate. Their leaders are politically motivated. Their leaders have gone through common purpose. All their chief inspectors are common purpose driven. They've all got the diversity bug. We know it. You've got good, hard-working police officers that are literally handcuffed. They can't do the policing they want to do. Now, I've talked about this before. Back up and step up. You've got your back up, you stepped up. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying you can make a citizen's arrest? You can use force, reasonable force to make a citizen's arrest. People will say, oh, Tim, I'm not going to jail for someone nicking a bike. That's the society you'll be living in, mate. Okay? It's a bike today. It's going to be smashing into your house tomorrow. All right? Remember, You know, we stay, remember that whole thing? I was silent when they came for, I was silent when they came, and then they came for me. That's it, mate. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we're better than that. Remember who you are. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get this across to people right now. Your ancestors did amazing things. Amazing things. In 1925, 25% of the world was speaking English. 25% of the world was owned by Britain. It was occupied by Britain. Do you know how small a country we are? Do you know how few people we had back then as well? Like, it's ridiculous what we can do, what the debt of gratitude the entire world owes to this nation is ridiculous. Do we go on about it? No. Did we stop slavery? Yes. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. And when you want to have a look at slavery from Western slavery as opposed to Islamic slavery dwarfs it. Why do you think they're called the Slavic nations? Because the Barbary pirates came over and they enslaved, millions of white people and took them into North Africa. Let's talk about Islam then. Why not? I'm not a huge fan of Islam. And I'm never going to change. I'm a Christian Roman Catholic man. My issue with Islam is they cannot, when I speak to Muslims, moderate Muslims, I don't believe there are moderate Muslims, they're just Muslims that don't want to fully commit to the Quran. There's certain words I can't say on this because the video gets taken down. But there is a pure form of Islam. And that form was doing horrible things in Syria, northern Iraq. They've got a name. I can't say it on the tape. It begins with I. Horrible people. That's the purest form of Islam. I can't even play tapes on here that I want to play you because it'll get taken down. I was doing some discussion work with an AI earlier, and the AI said, I cannot answer that. It's against my community guidelines. We just got stuck at one point, and that point we got stuck at was like, I was saying to it, because I spoke to a Muslim guy last night, and he was like, mate, you're treading into deep, dark territory. When you talk about this, I was like, I'm a deep, dark territory kind of guy. That's exactly where I fucking live, mate. Let's talk about it. So what I'm talking about, all right, because this is what we should be doing as Englishmen, Scotsmen, Welshmen, Irishmen. This is our lands. Islam comes here to a Christian land. And all I'm saying is, mate, if the Prophet Muhammad, a warlord, by the way, in the 7th century, 600s, whatever, went into Christian lands, Egypt, went into Iraq, Syria. These are Christian lands, and they turned them into Islamic lands, and there's so many of them. So many Christian lands turned into Islamic. That's what caused the First Crusade in the 1090s, 11th century. The First Crusade was to go and free Jerusalem from the Caliphate at the time. Okay, we had to go, because it was a Christian, it got turned into an Islamic. And then there were about 9 crusades. So I'm starting a political party called the 10th Crusade. I'm not, but I should do. So the Prophet Muhammad, this is what we say to Muslims. We're like, okay, so mate, if he is the role model, he's supposed to be the most, this warlord, supposed to be the most ideal role model. Okay, that's the people, most ideal. Okay, fine. So everyone agrees. All Muslims agree. Yeah, he's the most ideal. Yeah, he's a warlord, but he's the most ideal man. And back then it was different to him. A quick advert for Ground News, who sponsor this channel, luckily, because YouTube ain't giving me no money, fam. You know what I'm talking about. All the stories you'll find on the front page here that are current. However, you can search for stuff in the bar at the top. When you click on a story, then it will show you here, look, what's left-leaning, centre, or right-leaning. It's a right-leaning story. Let's click on it. And then straight away it gives you a summary at the top there. All the stories here, down there. You can even expand it for more articles if you want at the bottom. On the right here, it shows that there's 34 articles. There's 5 left, 14 right, and then there's 5 centre. Below it then, the bias distribution shows that this is a right-leaning article, and you can see here, Fox News, Israel, all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Here, factuality, expand that. You can see which ones are more factually correct than others, and so you can see who owns it as well. Where are your biases in this? Click on the article if you want. You'll go straight to that website then, and at the top you can see there's a bar that drops down as well, again showing where these biases are. You can then look at left-leaning articles and right-leaning articles and not get sidetracked by the mainstream media. 40% off. Thank me later. Okay, mate, so here's the thing about it. He was a 54-year-old man. He had 2 wives, and he took a 3rd wife in a girl called Aisha, who was 6 years old, married her, and at 9 he consummated that marriage, which we know means he had, I can't say words on here because YouTube takes this shit down, mate. When I say that to Muslims, they're like, Tim, different times. Yeah, but he's still your role model. Well, yeah, but it's differently interpreted through the Quran and the Hadith. The Hadiths are the writings about the sort of the story about the Prophet himself, the life of the Prophet Muhammad. Don't bother reading this shit. It's a fucking jumble, mate. It's a mess. It's not like the Bible, by the way, where the scholars, the Council of Nicaea, I think it is, got together in the early days and they agreed what the scriptures in the Bible meant. Everyone agreed. Yeah, I know what that means. All right, cool. I know what that means. Cool. Everyone, it's written down. That hasn't happened. There's different interpretations with the Quran. And that's why you get different Muslims, Druze, you get Sunnis, Shias. And I've flown with Sunni and Shia Muslims, and they don't really get on with each other as pilots. I've flown with them, by the way. I've taught them to fly back in the day when I was in the Air Force, you know what I mean? Great people, don't get me wrong, individually great people. But none of them could answer that question. It's like, all right, so he's your role model. You want to live your life like the Prophet. Does that mean that you're happy to... I don't want to say it on here, but you know what I'm talking about? Like marrying a 6-year-old and then consummating that marriage when she was fucking 9, mate. And they're like, well, difficult times, Tim. It's an open interpretation. Is he a role model or not? Is he a role? And the truth is, of course, he is. Which means when we look at the Pakistani gangs in the country, they didn't see anything wrong with that. Their families didn't see anything wrong with that. And that's why they didn't stand out against it. This is why I've got a problem with Islam and the growth of Islam in the UK, especially as a Christian man. It's got to stop. And that's why I'm talking about back up and step up. That's why you've got to look at things in your country. As an Englishman, Scotsman, Welsh, you know what I mean? I say English because it's even though I'm half Welsh, England is the overwhelming demographic of the United Kingdom. We know that, right? But we know we've got our Scottish brothers. We know we've got our Welsh brothers. And we know we've got our Irish brothers and our American, Canadian, Australian. You know what I mean? We know we've got our brothers out there that are all lending us a hand. These are good people out there, 100% good people. But listen, England is where this stops, mate. It stops here. This is a Christian land. It stops here. Think about who you are. That's what I'm telling you right now. I'm literally telling you, it can never take over this land. It can never take over this land. Shabam Mahmood is a Home Secretary. It's where it ends, mate. It ends there. Literally, it ends there. There's nothing, we cannot have it. Because the problem is you get people go, I'm a moderate Muslim, mate. I'm a moderate Muslim. I don't believe all that stuff. Well, why are you trying to seek power then? Why are you trying to become a politician? Why are you trying to become a councillor? Why are you trying to build mosques? Overwhelming numbers of mosques, like more mosques than you need. Why not be a guest and fit in and just live your life as a peaceful Muslim? Why not do that? Not that I want you here either. I'm happy for a Muslim to be here, contribute, all that kind of stuff. What I'm not happy for you to do is take a political stance. I want zero politics of Islam in the United Kingdom. Zero, less than zero. And the problem is right now, as Liz Truss said the other day, we've probably got about 10% in this country. 10% of the country is Muslim. So this is what I'm talking about. When you see not only this proliferation, we need to do something about it. But when also you see anything on the street, we need to do something about it. The police have lost the streets. And people say, I'm not getting stabbed for that, man. I'm not getting stabbed for a bike. If you don't get stabbed for a bike, your child will get stabbed for a bike. And if you can't see that, mate, then fundamentally we're on different pages here. Because you're a man, you've got to step up because your child is not a man. Your child cannot step up. And if you do not challenge these people in the streets, and it's a challenge, isn't it? People need to know they're being challenged. Not that you're going to go and smash into them or windmill into them and risk getting stabbed, but they're going to be challenged. People are watching them. I'm watching what they're doing. I'm phoning the feds up. Mate, I'm on the phone to the police right now. You better leg it, mate. It's about being a stand-up guy in your society. Pick up that litter. Do something with your local community. Hit the fizz. Fitness, finance, fam. I mean, I've talked about it so much. You know what I mean? Fitness, family, finance, fuel and faith. I've talked about it so much. It depends what you want to be, mate. Listen, I'll leave it there. But back up and step up. Be a stand-up guy. That's all I'm saying. And if you look around, you'll get that nod. You'll get the nod from other dudes. Right, we're in. Nod, in. And just challenge him. Mate, stop it. All right? That's all it is. Hopefully you've seen a few films in this as well. Hopefully you've seen a bit of a sponsorship video. It does help the channel. Guys, look, I'm not changing. You might. I'm not changing. Let's stand together. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.